treble this once again. We could see the difference between the celebrations of the fans if a double is hit. Borty's missed a single.
Do not miss the big number, as we call it, Mike De Decker, and it leaves you vulnerable. Mr. Dart the bullseye in the opening leg to get a breaker throw. Gets one at tops this time. First chance at the outer ring for a break for Bobby Cross. And he smashed into that first dart.
Shouldn't have been anywhere close to it, really. Must have been a late release. 32. Turns into 16. And he doesn't get a kind kiss, to the chagrin of this very, very expectant audience.
It was an encouraging start from Mike De Decker, but things are degrading pretty rapidly as he goes behind for the first time in this one. He has played some excellent stuff on the European Tour this year. I mean, indeed, across the whole Pro Tour this year, Rob Cross. First maximum for Mike De Decker. Hit 3 yesterday against Mandiao.
When he gets them, they're usually in clusters. Looking to double up De Decker. Double Decker! We were all calling for him to be called that, weren't we, instead of the real deal?
I haven't seen much of Jan Decker of late. 11 darter.
He's got the lead with a breaker throw, but he looks pretty comfortable in this spot.
Oh, how about this for a shot? Oh, well, a 174 would have been absolutely perfect. Even as it is, it's a good setup shot.
Oh, lovely switchback. Knew that the 57 was covered. Plan B was the 16, it worked. He's got problems though. Cross the silencer.
That is really, really good.
Bit wiry, you know, the arm goes a bit flaily, or the left foot overtakes the right sometimes. He's just got to stay still.
Good last dart. It probably means Rob Cross is definitely going to go 18s here. Can he find the treble? Would have given him a match dart. As it is, he'll get 3 unless Mike De Decker takes this, and if he does, he's favourite for the game. Frustrating.
He's going to fear the worst now. You don't expect Rob Cross to miss this. He's been given excellent order over the last 4 or 5 legs because he has kept them on their seats.
And he dumps Mike De Decker out of the tournament. Aaron Price having the weekend off again. And let's be fair, Gerwin does have something of a track record of saying one thing and then maybe having a little rethink.
Unlike the previous winner, Rob Cross, who still claims that he won't playing anything unranked.
That's a very interesting one. Lovely stuff from Keane Barry. Oh yeah, really nice. Despite that, despite all of these achievements, it feels certainly to me like the hype around Keane Barry has just died down a little bit. Partially because, you know, the thrill of the new, the novel, it's worn off a little bit. But also there are other players, you know, the likes of Josh Rock that we can all get excited about, and rightly so, of course. But I think what Keane Barry has achieved certainly indicates that there are a lot more things to come from the young man.
All about concentration, this sport. Well, this is a chance here for Barry. On the ball.
What a guide that was. What a guide. Just a tungsten tray to lay it on and get the break and take a 3-1 lead. Do you start getting worried?
Yeah, and when in some of those games, that opponent has just from nowhere flicked the switch and started going ballistic. And he might be getting the sense that that's happening now based on the last couple of visits from Johnny Clayton.
Well, we mentioned Johnny Clayton's superb Premier League campaign. how many times did we see him come from behind when it looked like he was fading, and then he did click? A barrage of legs, 11 and 12 darters. Too hot for Van Gerwen, too hot for Anderson, too hot for anybody when he was getting going. And might he be too hot for Keane Barry? He levels the game up at 4 apiece.
Needs to hit big.
Big enough for you? 180 number 4 leaves him a bogey number. Keane Barry will be first to a finish. And that is a vital last start that leaves him a 101 checkout. 400 points scored in 4 visits to the board by Keane Barry. If he can take out 101 here, he wins the match. He'll get a match dart. The target is double 16. And he cannot hit it. And is he going to fall to the ferret once more?
Treble 19. Double 11. And Clayton does it again. He beats Barry for the 5th time in recent times, as you would expect. But maybe this year people would see Gilding as a bit of a spoiler because he's been a reborn player.
Yeah, absolutely. And that 180 gets the seal of approval.
This won't get it. Oh, I'm not sure if that was the right route. He's not expecting Vandenberg to follow the 180 with a 140, but I would argue that this finish is easier than, say, 139, a point below it.
Oh, very much so. Playing the percentages there, Andrew Gilding. He's not going to give a great deal away, Dimitri, unless he wins this match, but he should be behind again. After losing the first leg, he has now lost the third, and there you have that silence again.
No danger of him not going for the ball now that Gilding's down to 1-2-1, but he's not going to get the opportunity.
96.
We've seen Gilding miss the ball for one of these combos earlier in the game.
He would love another shot at it. Doesn't get it.
97.
But does get the next best thing. Big pressure on this 2-darter. Big pressure. Is the dart in the way? Yes. It's the left side. What a dart from Dimitri Vandenberg for 4-4, because if he misses that, an extra treble there would have left him on 129, south of 130. Now all Dimitri can do is square up with a ton, leave tops, and hope that Andrew does not have this in his locker.
Andrew, you require 167.
He might have it in his locker. And it would be a knockout blow for Dimitri Vandenberg. That would have been the stuff of nightmares for the dream maker.
That would have been the ultimate shush. But on the other side of the coin there is a last leg decider. And Andrew's got the darts.
Well, he missed the ball for the match for 167. He won't get a go at it for 161, but Dimitri might have to take it out.
137.
Can you imagine it? If Andrew had hit the 167, it would have been silence. If this goes in, bring on the earplugs. Now he needs mistakes from the baddie. And he's been very good on the outer ring. 1 in every 3 shots. That's ominous.
And it's victory for the villain that ends the home heroes' hopes here in Belgium.
Yeah, these are very... I was having a little investigate earlier on. They are a one-piece combo, but they are a very, very thin and lightweight version.
Yeah.
There are others out there that they're just too heavy and it affects the flight of the dart. But these are There's hardly any difference.
Are these the ones that have actually got a canal? You can actually see the streamlining of that stem.
140.
They're not cylindrical.
No, they've got a sort of, yeah, it's more polygonal than round.
That's word of the day. Polygonal.
I'm not even sure I'm using it correctly.
I'm sure you are. You're smarter than all of us.
Well, what a competition to win.
Well, if there was going to be a competition for 108 checkouts, Niels would win it. Ooh.
The last dart was great, but the second dart was the key one. That was a very difficult one.
So, my best way of practicing for the Grand Prix was playing 301 double start all the time, because you're getting used to the finishing element and the starting element and the different intricacies with the rhythms. Playing lots of legs as well, just getting it into your brain about starting on the double.
Well, it is one of the most intriguing tournaments of the year, but it's also one with some of the highest capacity for hilarity. People forgetting to start on a double, people getting brushed, people nearly getting brushed and then coming back to win legs. All of these things offer chances for hilarious outcomes. Remember Mark Dudbridge?
It's almost that time of year where that comes onto social media, Andy.
60.
Yeah.
Who was the last person to forget to go for a double? Because Terry Jenkins did it once.
That's a good. I was nailed on Jose was going to do it, but I don't think he has. And this is suddenly changing.
Now, Zonneveld's in a very comfortable position for the Worlds right now. He's 20th out of 32 qualifiers, but even though he is now leading the 180 race in this match by 2 180s to 1, he's only 2,750 in front of the bubble person, which is John O'Shea. That's not comfortable.
It isn't comfortable, particularly with the Euro Tour to go. We do have a handful of Players' Championship events as well. 4 consecutive days in Barnsley, which will not only be important for the World Championship, but it will be the last chances to qualify for the Players' Championship finals, a tournament which Peter Wright won last year, of course. And he again looks at tops.
I thought that was going because that single 8 was so good. We take the singles for granted, but that single 8 was right in the middle. It's usually a good indicator of what comes next, but Zonneveld could, by hook or by crook, be level.
This will be for an 11 dart. Oh, what a leg of darts from Niels Zonneveld. Look at that. Well, this looks like it might be happening. Because Niels Zonneveld, a kind of pedestrian opening 4 legs. He got there at 2-2. But as I said, it looked like Peter Wright had then clicked into gear. But the misses at double have allowed Niels Zonneveld back into the match. And he is starting to take control. And it could be back-to-back 4-visit legs. In fact, it doesn't need to go in 4 visits now. Is this wise? It is very wise. He could have found himself in problems there. But it does not matter. And Niels Zonneveld is giving it some.
Well, he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't actually. But he might be doing it. Oh, he's going to go for this, surely. Oh, that would have been great.
But he wanted it really badly. That 5 makes things a bit more awkward. If Snakebite gets a 140 here, things are very interesting. Got to go 25.
65.
Bare minimum.
Niels, you require 85.
Now, the stats say don't go for the bull at the end of this if that's the only option you've got. On 167, but do you do that in the last leg decider against the world champion? He's going to go for the 16 segment, and it leaves him 9-9 anyway for the match.
67.
Well, Andrew Gilding missed this to beat Dimitri. He ended up beating him anyway. You've had 2 6-5s already tonight and a 6-4. This one is out of range for Snakebite. And Zonneveld, who's already had a match shot,
100. Niels,
has a decision to make.
Does he go straight at it, or does he split it? Again, the stats say you're better off going straight at it, but how do you feel, Niels? You feel like a winner! He's just beaten Peter Wright for the first time in his career. No fist bump before the final last leg decider. There's a handshake at the end. Top quarter of the draw, where we haven't had any of the games played yet. So these last 4 matches are all in the same section of the draw. As Joe Cullen produces the first maximum of this one, he's first to a finish on the Nielsen throw. The second quarter of the draw, all the seeded players progress. So Aspinall versus Chisnell and Searle versus De Souza. Single 18 for tops. Very nicely done. That is 2 perfect visits back to back from Joe Cullen. He's just reasserting himself in this, Joe Cullen. Had a leg off on the scoring in the last one. It's the only leg that he's not had darts at double. Only leg he's lost as well.
They require 51.
Well, if it's a 57 here, then we are in that Dennis Dream, Cullen nightmare, but it's order restored. In the fight at the moment that Humphries is leaving to Van Gerwen. Of course, deciding to stay at home, and understandably so.
Yeah, waiting the birth of his first child.
Let's see if Dennis can be a menace here.
To double his leg tally, treble 17. The Swede. That's a turn up for the books.
Well, it's B+ game, Joe Cullen, isn't it? And it's more than enough.
It looked like it was going to be a star game, didn't it, for a while? And then he just had a little nap.
Look what old Dennis has left. Is he going to double down on 1-2-1 checkouts?
He knows how to do it. Drop 17 and ball. Oh.
57. 124.
To wrap it up. Same kind of finish. Treble 18 and ball. Joe gets the job done. A 1-2-4 finish. Dennis Nielsen wakes up at the end of the game. In fact, did win the last meeting between the pair, Kim Huybrechts, at a Players' Championship event last year. That ended a 17-match losing streak that dated back to the European Darts Open in 2015, when Huybrechts beat Van Gerwen in the semi-finals and went on to play Robert Thornton in the final. An inspired display from the Scot ended Huybrechts' hopes then. Will Van Gerwen end his hopes here?
66.
Missing opportunities against a throw in each of his first 2 chances to break the Belgian.
Kim hasn't missed a double yet. Still hasn't. Dimitri lost 6-5 to Gilding. Zonneveld won 6-5 against Peter Wright. In fact, the most emphatic victory of the night has been Joe Cullen over Dennis Nielsen in the last game by 6 legs to 2. But we might be about to go close again.
Well, Van Gerwen's missed darts to break in both legs. He's thrown second. Huybrechts is about to get a dart to break. And it's a dart at double 14. But he nails it. A 1-2-1 check out for a dozen dart leg against a throw, and suddenly Huybrechts has this match in the palm of his hand. Not quite on fire, but still in a very strong position.
He's more like a pilot light at the minute. He's waiting to catch fire and heat this whole place up. He's going to need errors from MVG if he wants to retain the lead. But he's starting to falter a little bit in his own game, and that's what he's got to focus on. He can't be worrying about what Michael's going to do.
Well, 41 left. 32 left. Gives Huybrechts a go. Now, if this goes, we'll need a replacement roof.
Anybody know a roofer? take them on hold.
Michael require 32.
All square. 3 legs on the spin.
60.
A bit of practice on tops, was that?
I don't know.
Well, he was pointing at tops. He was pointing up.
No score.
Well, it's really interesting what Kim did there, because he wasn't going for the treble 20.
He definitely wasn't.
He was definitely just trying to figure something out.
Trying to make sure I don't know what's going on here. From Kim Huybrecht. Van Gerwen chose to bust there and get back to this. He could do it again.
Yep, right thing to do. You don't want to be in an odd number double. Well, Kim's going to be on a finish now. He's probably wishing that he hadn't, gone for those big 20s. He thought the leg was over.
There's a high miss this time, but still he can't find, and this is a doubling disaster. And maybe, just maybe, Huybrecht doesn't have to go through the last leg decider. He was practicing on tops earlier. Now he wants 2.
Oh, what? What on earth? That is going to be one of the weirdest legs of darts I've ever seen on the European Tour. But it finishes with an incredible crescendo. But he's not going to sunny Gibraltar in 3 weeks, is he? He's not. So if he doesn't make hay here by making the final or winning his first European Tour event in 10 years, he's not going to the Euros, which he has won before.
Yes, and he's missed out on it before.
140.
Boris Kritschmar is a man who is tantalisingly 1 win outside of the provisional places.
And he's not going to jib either.
He isn't, so it's all or nothing for Big Boris. He's going to go to double 18 to hold his throw. He does not trouble it. Adrian Lewis has the same target with 2 more darts in his hand. Is that decisive? It is. 1-0 jackpot.
Adrian Lewis.
That is an area of the world that we really need to find more of him. I know he's the glowing superstar of darts in that area of the world, but there are more. There are more in Serbia. There are more in Slovenia. There are great players in that area. We just have to entice them into the elite.
Well, it's good to have a figurehead. And Big Boris is that. Bullseye he wants. And these soft hit players love a bullseye. He's still making a living out of the game, but I don't think you get, even Adrian with this incredible natural talent and being a player who's always seemed very easygoing. And everybody loves Adrian Lewis. But I still think you need that steel, that hunger, that desire, not a nasty side, but that real drive to be the best if you're going to become a 2-time world champion. And I'm not sure that leaves you, does it? So it must irk him a little bit not to be in the discussion. He wants to be at the top of the game. Of course he does.
Stay in that region. Doesn't glance it over the top for a shot at the Shanghai. And Lewis has been excellent on tops. Overall in this match, he's 50% on doubles. And he stays at 50% with an average that is very good indeed, 105.
If he just does that all weekend, he's going to have a great chance of winning the title. And he could well be on a double again after 4 visits to the board, because that is a lovely setup. In fact, he could produce the best leg of the match here and win it in 4 visits.
4's the number because that's how many 180s he's had.
50.
This has been composed, measured, rhythmic, and brilliant.
Match start.
74. Boris, you require 170.
Just to stay in the match. He's not going to join the 170 club that has 1 person 90. In it. Dave Chisnell from earlier. Can Adrian Lewis join Sunday?
He can, and that is a superb display by Adrian Lewis. Absolutely fantastic. 103 average from the 2-time world champion. Madders is going to stay in the 20s. Even Madders would say, well, he'd try.
83. Danny, you require 160.
Razma got the better of Andy Barton,
60.
didn't he, in his first
Matters, you
match, a
require
6-4 success.
147.
Was given a bit of a scare, several scares in fact, during that game.
He was, and I have to say, I think Andy Barton's was incredibly unfortunate in that match.
64. Danny, you require 100.
Not saying he should have won it, but I'm saying it could have been even closer than 6-4.
Now then, is he looking at tops? He is, because you can see from that angle that he did have
60.
a decent sight of it.
Matters, you require 83.
Razma is now hoping for a break of throw.
Beautiful dart, leaves double 16 to go into the lead. Really, really nicely done.
Matters, Razma. $58.
Not a bad night to be wearing that outfit, though. As Kim Huybrechts ensured Belgian representation on the final day.
96. Danny, you require 132.
I believe his game against Adrian Lewis will be the last one of tomorrow's afternoon session, as Danny looks at the 57 and now looks back towards the bullseye. 1-3-2 check out, expertly done by the UK Open champion.
But they hadn't bothered the ones that did.
Well, it actually means that the highest ranked player in the world who's here is Jose de Sousa, a man who is looking to end a bit of a title drought of his own, but looked really good in that brilliant game earlier on today with Ross Smith. Other side of it matters. No, the other side of those darts, not the wire, man.
Danny requires 64.
Didn't follow the instructions. Noppy loves tops.
Game from the 8th leg. Danny Noppert.
And Matters Razma, he's got a bit of fortune with him this weekend. Can he make it count here like he did against the Belgian qualifier? Oh, great darts, Danny Noppert.
Well, this could be absolutely perfectly poised after this visit. Danny Noppert's going to get 2 stabs at treble 20 for a dart at the bullseye.
Got to stay straight.
60.
It's the bare minimum.
Yeah, you really think you needed at least 1 treble there to leave a slightly more favourable finish.
Is he thinking about moving away from the 20s? Oh, well, he's ended up moving away from the 20s and he didn't want to.
Did the thought come because he didn't like the lie of that dart?
Maybe. I just think he was looking at Matters' score and thought, I don't want to end up on double 5.
80. Matters, you require 160.
Well, it's been incredible stuff, but we're not going to get the most incredible finish unless we see loads of missed
60.
darts at double from here.
Danny, you require 50.
Or
10.
see Noppert go straight for the ball.
Well, 10 for tops. Sensible. And Danny Noppert inches past Matters Razma. A 21 dart leg, the worst of the entire match.